So what's going on? And I'm not saying those words like I normally do to greet you, but to pose the question, what in the world is going on right now? Because you have a grand political theatrical show happening right now with all of this left versus right, the congressional hearings. You have just recently Democratic Republican Jamal Bowman pulling a fire alarm saying that he was confused with it being a doorknob, and now this whole investigation is going on, stopping or slowing down potentially the adjournment or the voting for the extension of the prevention of the government shutdown for the funding and the financial stuff. And a lot of things are happening, guys. You have weather phenomena. New York City is flooding. Dianne Feinstein just passed away. You have General Milley just stepping down. Many other speeches, hints, drops, whatever you want to call it, and people are fussing over this. And so I want to give you guys a quick level setting, just a pulse check, a current state status of what's happening. Because again, we're in a season of massive exposure. A lot of people are waking up, they're researching, and they're trying to find out like what's really the structure of what we are living in today, and what's this whole government, corporation, this republic type thing. And people are wondering what's really going on, because you have a lot of facade, you have a lot of just people playing their part. And I've said this before, people have to intentionally do things, play the bad guy, or they are the bad guy, but they're cornered and they are in their last gasp. And you're seeing a whole slew of things that, if you want to say, is totally controlled by the white hats. They're doing this for a reason, to portray and to expose and bring people to research, to wake up and to realize not only morality in the sense of what's good, what's bad, right? You have all of this agenda, this woke agenda, liberal agenda coming out. And in order for you to wake up, it has to be thrown in front of you. It has to be thrown in your face. And even then, people will not wake up to what their moral compass, their godly, righteous judgment should be. And even then, if you're beyond that, then you are trying to figure out what's going on behind the scenes, and you will believe, in some sense, what you want to believe, but you will see it once you dig into it. And so this is what's happening with, for example, when Trump the other day at his Michigan rally talked about how he was in his second term, and he said that this term was the second term, but he kind of brushed it off, and almost sort of caught himself saying, "Oh no." Well, he said, "quote, and in my second term, it's the worst second term ever," meaning that the term that is right now, if you want to look at it from the perspective of devolution, and that he is the president currently behind the scenes, but he's orchestrating what looks like this whole, mess with Biden, the fake actor, and all this stuff. And he has to say it publicly to say this is the worst term, and that all this bad stuff is happening, and people are seeing it. They're waking up to it. He says he doesn't want the results of the second term, and that there has never been a disaster like this for our country. And then that in his second term, and you have to watch the video, and in the second term, he'll finish the job. So he corrected it in a sense, saying that, okay, he was technically in a second term now, if you want to look at it in terms of devolution, which I believe that is. But publicly, optically, he has to make it look like Biden is president. And as Jan Halper Hayes and many other people have said, that Biden is the president of the U.S. corporation, and that with this new sort of bankrupt corporation out of the way, it's clearing the way for this new age of a free society. And just today, I believe, IET, Inevitable ET, on his Substack, he just released a complete, I think, like 400 sources and pages of various things. I don't think it's pages. It's not that difficult of a read in that sense. But if you read it, it's talking about the timeline of the incorporation or the corporatization of the United States, 1871. So a lot of people talking about this, right? How did we become a corporation? How did we become, this non-constitutional, or it looks like we're following the Constitution, but we're not really in it, because you have to look at common law versus, maritime law and this whole thing of what the Federal Reserve System is about, and how this whole, I guess, agenda from the good guys' perspective is to tear down this whole financial system. So you can go read this. It's very, you have to sit down really to kind of digest it. But there is this, and there's the fact that even Donald J. Trump, he's been saying things like this, quote, "will deliver tax cuts, the likes of which you've never seen before. Best of all, they will be fully paid for by the outsourcers and foreign producers who will be paying trillions and trillions of dollars into our treasury for the privilege of doing business in the United States of America, going to get rid of a big portion of our deficit too. We're going to tariff and tax them, and you, the American worker, will be the primary beneficiary. I will go to every foreign country where we're paying billions and billions of dollars for the military defense and tell them that if they do not massively decrease or increase their purchases of all these cars, right, our troops are packing up and we're coming home and you got to buy our products. That's going to be the least of it." So he's talking about, if you read between the lines, where we are the primary beneficiary, getting rid of all this, Social Security or whatever tie down this indebtedness we have, indentured servitude type mentality we have, and going back to sovereignty, right? Being a sovereign citizen, being a sovereign nation, and that all these foreign producers, if you want to call them the global elite, if you want to call them the Illuminati, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, these guys who are the rich and powerful elite, they will have to pay back to the Treasury. And then, of course, you can get into the fact that the Treasury maybe ate up the Federal Reserve Bank and just this whole thing. There's a lot of research behind this. You have to really get into the depths of it. I suggest reading even this article, the Substack, and many other sources are out there. You can follow guys like Patel Patriot and many other sort of white hats or sleuths that are looking into this type of stuff. Now, I'm saying this because a lot of disclosure, a lot of hints are coming. You can research and choose to believe what you want to believe, but in some sense, the facts are out there. And you have to really ask the Lord for discernment. And this is not easy to digest, guys. It's hard to tell you that we are under an alternative form of government, under devolution, the continuity of government based on the fact that our nation, it has been taken over in a sense by foreign adversaries. The 2020 election was stolen, and our commander-in-chief, because he has to abide by the Constitution, he implemented a certain continuity of government that is in effect right now that you have to really dig deep for, or it's so secretive, right? It's so secretive that only the military knows who really is in power and what's happening with this fake Biden in office, with, I don't know, his mask or his doppelgangers, whatever is happening. And who knows who really is the enemy, in the sense of, are they playing a part to look like they are the enemy and they are a double agent? And, all of this theater is going on the surface level. You have people playing out their role, this whole society, talking about, oh, let's fight about this and that, when all of this showboating is happening, but behind the scenes, a real job has to be done, which is to take down this whole multi-century structure of the global elitists trying to make the rich richer, to take your money, your hard-earned, taxable, in a sense, wages, your future, your time, and trading it for whatever money that they're trying to siphon out of all of us. And so all of this is being taken down right now, and you have to, if you're drafting up how to take a global system down, you're not going to just announce everything. You have to have a plan. You have to have certain fakers, certain people that are playing their part until the very end. Q says a 6-year operation. Let this play out, and then in the end, we'll see what happens. And it may be a disaster if you just tell them everything and say that, hey, I was actually the president for this whole time, and we were doing this on purpose. We had to root out everything. A lot of people, they don't have, I'm not trying to sound offensive, they don't have the brain cells to understand and comprehend the depths of what devolution and the corporation, the U.S. Corporation is, and this whole governmental analysis. It's very thick, dense stuff that a lot of people, they either will choose not to believe or they're just not going to understand. And so that's why if you are a truth seeker, if you are one that is right before God in that you want to uphold the righteous values and you're seeking for wisdom and discernment, then this video is for you, and everything else that may supplement your research and how you're listening to me and many other people, this is validation for you. And so as October approaches, people saying Red October, as many things happen, GITMO and many crimes against humanity, you have all this shot stuff, the medical stuff. I'm not even going to touch on that, right? All of this stuff is coming out. And as more and more is coming out about the 2020 election, all of the military stuff, and again, this is what is being projected. 2020, the steal, whatever you want to call it, all these things, it's not going away in the sense that Trump is talking about it, many other politicians are talking about it, many other truth seekers, truth tellers, influencers, they're talking about it. It wasn't some like, it was a hopeful, wishful thinking and, I'm a sore loser, so I just need to believe what I want to believe. They're doing research, they're looking into these things and they're seeing, oh wow, there's something here. And so I'm saying this because be hopeful, God is working. This is a moment to remember because we are turning into the greatest time, one of the greatest times of our life, of this generation. So as everything comes down, as people need to be shocked awake, as everybody have to play their part, they have to do and execute their mission to the fullest. As this is happening, don't be surprised. It's the thick of war. This is not like a World War II kinetic battle going head to head with the front lines. This is information, it's psyops, it's fifth dimensional warfare, and it has to happen like this. It had to happen like this for a reason. So just be encouraged. Love you guys. Keep fighting. This is what's going on. Massive, massive things. Get into True Social, get on Telegram, get on Rumble, start listening to some podcasts, go read this Substack. There's many other Substacks. Get on certain guys, X22, many other guys that are talking about this stuff. And we know, and many others, they're talking about this. And you can learn yourself. Love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.